Hello, everybody. Welcome to Fox Cities Core. This is a special ABF monthly episode of Fox Cities Core, where we get to talk to our friend Mark Motter about everything that's happening at the Appleton Beer Factory. Of course, if you're in the Fox Cities area, you know that the Appleton Beer Factory is getting so many great shows, and Mark comes in once a month and we talk about it. Normally, historically, Mark, it's been the third Tuesday of every month. This is the second month in a row. I think we've pushed it back to the fourth Tuesday.
Yeah, we had to change it up with St. Patty's Day, and honestly, I'm glad we did with all the snow last week too. It was there was a lot. I wasn't expecting 27.5 inches of snow at this point in March, but what are you going to do?
Did you stay home that day, or did you end up going in?
Well, the great thing about what I do is I can work from home. So I definitely stayed home. I mean, we were shoveling every few hours to try and make sure we didn't have to shovel 10 feet of snow at the end of the night. But
you answered my next question, if you do one big shovel or if you shovel throughout the process.
So I shoveled my stairs, but then I got one of our sponsors, Beatnik Betty's, Matt, who's married to Monica, plows and stuff. So he comes and plows my driveway a couple times a day. So he took care of me and didn't have to do too much heavy lifting. But at my age, all that heavy lifting is more than I need.
Did anything get canceled at the Appleton Beer Factory during that period?
The only things we had the music right before everything on Thursday night. We had Chicago Farmer in the Field Notes and Miles Nielsen and the Rusted Hearts, which was an absolutely fantastic show. We had a couple of events that didn't cancel. They just moved to a different date. So we didn't really lose too much, but we did have to close down on one of the days, so that always, you don't want to do that anymore, and you have to.
Tell me about St. Patrick's Day, because you had traditionally you have an Irish band in there on St. Patrick's Day. Who did you have this year?
We did. We had Third Class Minstrels with Sarah Lynn Huss, and we've had that. So I've worked with Sarah Lynn it was actually since before COVID that we started doing St. Patty's Day shows when I was at Kelmus Pub, and the first show we had, it was right before everything was shutting down for COVID, and people were starting to freak out a little bit already. So there was like 5 people at the show. But what I will say is, despite the terrible snow and how little cleanup was done at that point, we still had a really good St. Patty's Day. We were very happy with it based on what the conditions were like. And Third Class Minstrels always does a great job. I'm sure we have either Third Class Minstrels. It used to be Roving Scallywags, which Sarah Lynn was with as well, but now we do Third Class Minstrels, and it's just great traditional Irish music. So works out really well.
Kind of late for this question, but do you normally do green beer at the brewery? And how do you feel about places that do that?
Well, so we used to keep food coloring there just in case people insisted on it, but we've since...
I thought it was leprechaun pee.
Yeah, leprechaun pee, whichever. But we've since done away with that. It's if you want to make green beer, bring some food coloring and make some green beer, because that's all that we do is add food coloring, and it's not something that's a huge priority for us, but we're more about celebrating the tradition. So.
I know our friend from Fox Cities Live was there on March 17th, I believe, because I think I saw a picture floating around. From a view of Eric Herm.
Oh, yes. Well, that's because Eric starts every St. Patty's Day at 6 a.m. at Dirty Leprechaun, which is hilarious. So when I used to live down in Milwaukee, like every bar down in Milwaukee was open at 6 a.m. And so moving back up here, and, you have a couple bars that do it, but it's just... Everyone likes St. Patty's Day up here, but it's not the same as being down like in Milwaukee. And like you have lines of people at the door waiting to get up at 6 a.m. or waiting to get in at 6 a.m. and it's pretty incredible. So I'm very happy that our St. Patty's Day isn't quite that intense.
What time did you end up getting up?
For St. Oh no, I was not up when Eric was out. No, we opened at I think we opened at 3 o'clock that day, if I'm not mistaken. And we do pretty well. Just we don't need to open up that early. It's just there's not a ton of people out, and most of them know that Dirty Leprechaun's open at 6. So
there was something I wanted to mention. So you posted a picture speaking of pictures of somebody from a band that popped in.
That was really awesome. So the bands, I should say, that we had last Thursday night, Pump Action and the Retrograde. So Pump Action first came through, I think it was last February or March, with Bermuda Search Party, and it was our first time seeing Pump Action, and they're really good. Was a great addition to that show. Pump Action brought through the Retrograde, and all I can say is, holy cow, those guys were absolutely fantastic. That band we will be bringing them through. We're already working on another date, and I'm looking at potentially bringing them to one of the festivals I work with next summer already. Those guys are fantastic. If you haven't heard them, check them out. But those guys in that band are really good friends with the guys from the band Feel. So Garrett was actually in the area staying with a friend of a friend, and for like a week. So he came by and popped by for the show. So that was pretty cool having Garrett from the band Feel coming to one of our shows, because he's not normally in the area. He's down in Nashville and or St. Louis, I think they're from, actually. But it was great seeing him pop up at the show. And it's always great when we see our local musicians, which we do pretty regularly for shows, but to see someone from that far away come in for a show is pretty cool.
Did you recognize him right away, or did it take you a
I knew
second?
he was coming before he came. Carson, the drummer from the Retrograde, told me, he's like, yeah, he said, I think Garrett from the band. I'm like, shut up. That's awesome. So right when he came in, I was ready to go. So,
well, when you've got so many bands coming through, there's a lot of meeting going on, and I'm assuming that when people come back and walk up to you with a smile on their face, you've got to be a little bit concerned trying to recall where you know them from.
So having the heads up is always great for me, because it gives me a little bit of a second to make sure. But like Garrett, I would have definitely recognized him coming through. I mean, we've had him through a couple times, and anybody who knows me knows I get to know the bands pretty well when they come through. And but it was just great. It's the Retrograde, Joe, their lead singer, had said they've been waiting for multiple years to get up to Appleton Music Factory. So it's great to hear that kind of stuff, because those guys are from down in Lexington, Kentucky. So, and it was great seeing having those guys through and just hearing that kind of feedback. So,
and there's some announcements you're going to be making later.
Yes,
but there is a show next week that I think a lot of people are excited about. It's Lolo coming back. So
Lolo's coming back. Very, very excited about that. That is Friday. That is an early show. I know it's a little bit early, but we have Kiola is going to be at Gibson, and we didn't want to have people have to choose which show they wanted to go through if they want to see both, because both of those artists are pretty epic in the area. And so we're starting it at 5:30, but it's just Lolo, and there's going to be a meet and greet opportunity, and we're really excited to have her back through. It's been a bit, I want to say it's been at least 4 or 5 years since we've had her through. So
is food going to be available
yes.
on Friday?
Yeah, food will be available, and we'll have all sorts of food options. It will be a partially seated show, unlike a lot of ours, just because it's going to be Lolo with her piano, and but it's already selling really well. So we are selling less tickets for that show than we normally do. So if you want to go, I would suggest starting to get on those tickets pretty quick.
How is the meet and greet going to work? Do you have any idea of how that's going to?
So this is our first time we're doing it. It's going to start probably about an hour before showtime is what we're figuring. But then we're also going to have a photo booth that's going to be set up with like Lolo's logo and stuff. So even if you don't come to the meet and greet and you want to get a picture taken with Lolo's logo and everything on it about the show, you'll have that ability. Something new that we're trying, we're going to be doing for the Uncle Lucius show as well. And we work with Eric Janikowski, who's a great photographer from the area, and been wanting to try and do something outside of our normally what we do with him, and this is going to be our first opportunity. So we have had a bunch of tickets sell for that. There are still tickets left for that meet and greet, so I would definitely suggest, if you're interested in that, go ahead and sign up. And with the meet and greet, I mean, it's a pretty reasonable cost. You're actually getting either a CD or an LP, whichever one you choose, and then you also get a picture with you and Lolo from the show. That's included in that package.
She'll sign your record or your CD right away as well. So that really is pretty nice.
Yeah, it's great. You can get all the signatures right away. Plus, again, that includes your ticket. So it's great that includes, it's the whole package right there for you.
Do you see the industry moving that way in regards to shows, making them not just shows, but experiences?
So I think, very honestly, the music industry in general, what you're seeing with ticket sales and whatnot, like bands coming through need to be able to have a different opportunity to gain some revenue, right? They have their merch sales, they have ticket sales. You know, some places, like, we're very favorable on our deals with our artists, so they get a pretty good chunk when they come through. But a lot of places, they don't get that kind of pay when they come through. So these other pieces are great ways for them to pick up some extra dollars and make sure they're selling some of their merch at the same time with their CDs and their records. That's all included in that package. So while I don't know if a lot of bands are going to go towards that, I think it's a pretty low-hanging fruit. It's an easy way for the bands, especially if you have a good following, to make some extra cash.
Yeah, and the backdrop, it reminds me a lot of shows similar to like the PAC, where you go to see the Lion King and you can stand in front of a Lion King background. And
exactly.
I guess that just increases the chance that people share it on social media and get the word out.
Well, and that's kind of what we're looking at is it is a great way to help advertise and help market for it too. So we'll have all those pictures will get dropped after the show too. So we'll do one thing where it shows all the people that got their pictures taken and all that fun stuff. So it's a little bit of a opportunity to kind of show off some of the cool things we're doing, but also, like I said, just give a better experience to not only the fans that want that extra experience, but also give the artists an opportunity to, while they're in town, just make a little bit of extra cash, because traveling as a band is not easy, and it's not getting any easier with all the prices increasing on stuff.
Well, you mentioned Aaron. He is a great photographer, and he's also the bass player in North Wind in the Sun.
I did not even know that. Shoot.
Well, fun fact, he wasn't, originally North Wind in the Sun was just a guitar-drum combo, and then Aaron had never played bass before, and of course, Texas Butter Todd, good friends with Aaron, and asked, "Hey, do you want to be our bass player?" Aaron learned bass, and he played Mile Music.
That's great. That's great.
Good story there. But I've seen his photos, and he is really good. He's also done music videos for the Traveling Suitcase, among others. So,
yeah, we're just we're just starting to work with Aaron. Again, a great local artist, and we like to try and find different ways to work those different styles of art into our shows and what we do. So,
and tonight is comedy, the open mic comedy night.
Tonight and it's our Reboot, right? So we have a little bit of a Reboot tonight. We should have a ton of comedians there. Please come and check it out. These guys are fun to watch and hang out with. We start, it's sign up at 7, show starts at 7:30, and it doesn't cost anything, and it's a great way to support these guys. If they get laughs, they know that they can move on to another joke and try and create some more content. But that's really what these opportunities are. It's an opportunity for them to try out their new stuff, and also on a Tuesday night where there's not a lot going on, it's a great opportunity to get some laughs while you're down there as well.
Has a turnout for that? Has it been spreading? Word been spreading about that?
So we've started getting. So there was one other open mic that just had its last night last Tuesday. So I think we're the only open mic going on Tuesdays now in the area for comedy. So we're thinking we should have a pretty good pull for this. So again, it's a great way to check it out. And we like to try and create different spaces for different types of art, and comedy is art just like everything else. And while we haven't seen 100% of what we want to see from getting the audience there, we have seen more of that as we've progressed with that. So,
have you had a lot of first timers get up on stage for that?
We've had some first timers. Sometimes they can get a little rough, but again, that's what they're trying to figure out, right? So
that's half the fun of watching an open mic, right?
It is. You get to watch someone struggle a little bit up on stage. No, but it's it's someone's opportunity to try and show if they've got what it takes, or if they at least feel. I mean, it takes a lot to get up on stage and throw down jokes in front of people when you've never done it before. So it is fun watching, but then you have a lot of the guys who've been doing it for a long time that are great as well. So
you have had people come in there, very tenured comedians as well?
Yes. Yeah. So we have a pretty group of, a pretty good group of, like a core group of guys that do pretty open mics on a pretty regular basis that are, you can tell when they get up there, they are a little bit more ready to go. But then we have the new guys too, which is great. We just had someone reach out today about, he was going to get there at 7:20. So we're like, yep, you can still get here and get ready by that time. So yeah, we do have some new people coming up. We had a new guy last time, and he did really well for his first time up there. And it's great to see that people getting the courage to try it out. And you never know where stuff like that leads, I guess.
All right. Now, we talked about Lolo, but the week before, a big show coming to the Appleton Beer Factory. It's Weird Pals. Weird Pals
this Saturday night. If you do not have your tickets for this show, please get your tickets. We are trying to get these guys in on the Paper Fest stage. With a good amount of ticket sales, we'll be able to do that. But the biggest thing is these guys are all original music artists. So this isn't just like a band that's going around. These guys don't do a ton of shows, but they've done some pretty big shows. They've done the Weird Al after party in Nashville. They're 5-part harmony to Weird Al. And if you're a Weird Al fan, I can't imagine how you would want to miss this show. We're going to have Social Sig opening up, which I think is a pretty good opener for this style show as well. But, you're going to see a lot of familiar faces on the stage. Please wear your Hawaiian shirts if you have them, because that's a Weird Al thing. I know I've got my Hams Hawaiian shirt that I'll be wearing that night. So please come. If you're going to come, please come with the intent to have fun, because it's going to be a fun night. And I know these guys are super excited to bring this show to Appleton, because again, a lot of these guys have played in Appleton as original music artists, but they've put this new thing together and they're really excited about it.
Have you been able to catch one of their shows yet, or is this going to be a first for you?
This will be a first for me too. I've seen a lot of obviously clips and whatnot, but I also know the artists involved, so I'm very comfortable with what we've got coming through. You've got Dylan from the Minx, you got Andrew Leahy from Andrew Leahy and the Homestead. I believe John Tyler Wiley's in there as well, who's going to be at Gibson this week. So, you're going to have a lot of these artists that, again, you'll know them. And I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I know they're excited about it, and they'd love to see a bunch of people in the seats for that. So
I hope they do the medleys that Weird Al does on his CDs, where he plays 10 songs and jams them out.
That I don't know if they'll be doing, but I'm very stoked about it. And again, it's just a first opportunity for them to get in the area, and hopefully we can make some other fun stuff happen with it.
Well, the ticket for this will cost a lot less than seeing Weird Al in October up in Green Bay.
Way less. It's $15. And again, with our events, 90% of every dollar that's spent on ticket sales goes back to the bands, and we guarantee that. A lot of times more than that goes to the bands, because we do our best to take care of them. If we have a good night as well, we want to make sure that we keep them coming through. And so it's I think it's going to be a lot of fun, but there are tickets left. I would suggest getting some if you're a Weird Al fan, because I do not imagine. Actually, I'm going to put Mark's stamp on this one and tell you, if you come to this show and you're upset and don't feel like you got your money's worth, come talk to me and I'll get you a ticket to another show on us.
I need to get a graphic that's a hand stamped.
Stamped.
Love it. So that is this coming Saturday.
Yeah, that's this Saturday, and we have a show the day before too, which is going to be fantastic. If you haven't seen Hollyy and the Lunar Ticks, Lunar Ticks, this will actually be, I believe this is the first time we've had the Lunar Ticks. I know we've been talking to them for a bit, but Holly's been through before and is really, really great. If you like post-sex nachos, Bermuda Search Party, any of that style music, Easy Honey, you're going to love these guys. Really great band out of Chicago, and we're stoked to have them through on Friday. And that's, again, a $15 ticket. If you get it ahead of time, $20 at the door.
It's pretty reasonable, really, for a show. And I also want to talk about, you had a good show there yesterday too.
Yeah.
For the Manic Mondays.
Yeah, Manic Mondays was great. We had the Sunrise Project, which is Jason from Natural Satellite, a lot of you know him as, and then we also had Loom, two very different styles of music that we really haven't had through for Manic Monday. I don't even know what I would call Sunrise Project,
It's like a jazz,
like a
punk,
free jazz punk, it's really great. I can't put my finger on what you call it. And then the other band was more of a scream metal type band, which is not always my cup of tea, but the musicianship in the band was fantastic. And Corey, actually, the drummer for the band, is one of our sound guys, and it's always great when we see our sound guys up on stage. And he was super stoked to be getting on our stage from the opposite end for the first time. And but I think, overall the show was great. And the next one we have coming up is a pretty big one, with Smoke Free Home, Dead Buddhas, and then we added Dust Cover to that as well. So that should be a really good show. I would expect a lot of people at that show. So if you don't know, Sangrias and Tipsy Taco sponsor the show. We don't open the kitchen, so please stop by there, grab some food, and we'll let you bring food into the venue that night. We do ask you to support them if you can, because they make sure the artists get taken care of for food for all of those Manic Monday events.
A couple of the guys from the Dead Buddhas were here with you last month.
Yeah, that was great meeting those guys too, because I've never seen the band before live. I've seen Smoke Free Home, and I don't know a ton about Dust Cover, but it was great talking to the guys from Dead Buddhas, and the more I've listened to their stuff, I'm pretty excited about that show.
I was about to put you on the spot and ask if you listened to the Sludge Americana album yet.
So I'm the worst with names of songs and albums. What I will tell you is I have listened to what they have on streaming media. So
yeah, it's a nice mixture of stuff. I think that's going to be a good show.
I think it'll be great. And Smoke Free Home always does a good job. So really excited to have all those guys there next week. Or not next week, 2 weeks from yesterday.
Also want to talk about a show coming up, the Stickmen, next month. That's a big show. Tony Levin, would consider to be one of the best bassists in the world.
Yeah.
He plays bass for Peter Gabriel.
Peter Gabriel's bassist was the bassist for King Crimson during their most popular years. And then the drummer as well, Pat Mastelotto, that was with King Crimson at that time, will be coming through with them. So we've had this show before. We had it was 2 summers ago. It was during Paper Fest, because I remember I had to jump between the 2 shows. And Pat Mastelotto was actually sick. He had actually gotten sick before the Minneapolis show, so they had to put in another drummer, which the drummer did great, to be fair. But I'm really excited to have see Pat on drums. Very mechanical, very an amazing drummer. And then Mark Reuters, who was the lead singer, or the lead of the biggest King Crimson cover band in Europe. He's from Germany, so he plays the regular Chapman's, or the guitar Chapman stick versus the bass Chapman stick, which Tony will play that bass Chapman stick. And if you haven't seen the Chapman stick and just how they play that, it's a very different style. There's not strumming, it's all touch guitar, and it's definitely a prog rock show. So if you like King Crimson, love that kind of style, and you just want to get a chance to see a legend on a small stage like this, Tony Levin is definitely that guy.
Even if you're not a fan of that style of music, like you said, just have some people of that caliber in Appleton. The amount of stuff he did, I've been reading the Ozzy Osbourne book that came out recently, Last Rites, and there's a section in there where Ozzy says he's obsessed with back in the day, he was obsessed with the Peter Gabriel Soul album, which of course Tony Levin plays on.
Yeah.
And he said he was driving his assistant nuts because he wouldn't stop listening to it, and over and over, it's all he'd talk about. And then he said he was somewhere with that person. He got on the elevator, and that person was probably glad he wasn't talking about it. And then they went up a floor, and to the elevator comes Peter Gabriel. And Ozzy said he couldn't believe it. Just kept going on about how much he loves that album. And you can see Tony Levin right here in Appleton.
Yeah, it's great. And again, this will be the second time having him through. The tickets are going really well for this show. So again, we do kind of limit tickets on this show because we don't want it to be too packed. We want everyone to be able to enjoy the show and be able to move around. We do know this kind of plays to a little bit older crowd too, so we don't want to have a bunch of people just elbow to elbow in there like we do for some of the shows.
Well, I know there's tables. You can rent tables too. Are the tables all rented, or if they're
tables
not?
are rented? No. Yes, the tables are rented out for that show. So there are a handful of tables. They were all rented out for that show. We do them as well for the Lolo show, which is next week, which I think we have a couple of them left for that show.
Can you walk us through that process if somebody's interested?
Yeah, so the big thing that you have to do is you go through and you rent the table. So it's an option, just like a ticket is an option. You still have to buy your tickets. So I had to reach out to a couple people and be like, hey, you just bought your table. So that's not going to, you got to still be able to get in. The tables, we just rented because, those tables go so fast that there's a lot of shows we don't have them in there, but when we do, they go really fast. And when we have the bigger bands like this again, it's just an opportunity for us to be able to throw them a little bit extra cash on top of what they're doing. In this money's, you're talking 90% of every dollar is going back to the bands. So, it's going to the right place. And again, it's just all in an effort to try and give them what we can to keep them touring and coming around next time.
Well, I think that's great. Again, if you're a big fan of Stickmen or Lolo, you can rent a table.
Yeah.
And then when you walk in, it's going to have a reserve sign on it. And is it a specific table, or is it any first come, first serve if you rent it?
You pick the table that you're renting in there. So, so it is, you do get a specific table. You should be getting the one that you've rented. If we miss there a little bit, please keep in mind this is our first time doing it, and just mention it to us and we'll make sure we make everything right. But it seems to be taking on really well. Like both of the shows that we've done it for so far, one of the shows is halfway sold out with tables and the other one's sold out really quickly. So we do know that people are wanting that, and we want to be able to give that in as an option. And that's ultimately, we can't do it for every show though. Some of these shows where we have over 200 ticket shows, it's just not usually feasible to get the tables in there.
What a great option, though, if you want some place to put your jacket and just some place to put your stuff. If you want to get up and walk up to the stage.
You got a safe place where you can keep everything. We don't let food in the room. However, we do. You can have all your drinks in there and everything. And then, like I said, you just got a place where, you can put your stuff and you don't have to worry about if you're putting it in a random spot that don't remember where it is or someone grabs it or anything like that, I guess.
We're gonna take a break, but you've got some announcements when we come back.
I've got some fun announcements. I'm gonna be doing 2 announcements that we're making today that are not on the board yet, but will both be on the board within the next 2 weeks. And so we want to get the verbal word out there about these shows. And also we had a big one this week that we want to talk about a little bit as well.
Elán Johnansen there from when he was at the Appleton Beer Factory. What a great show that was.
That was awesome. That was a very good throwback. I felt like I was back in the room that night. And, Andy said when we were on break listening to that, you can tell the influence of Chris Cornell in that, and you can tell when you listen to Chris Cornell's solo album, you can also tell Elán's influence on Chris. So it was... But yeah, that was a great show.
And I think talking about Stickman coming, Elán's a good example of a show that you brought somebody here with a huge pedigree of music that they helped create. I mean, we're talking Queens of the Stone Age, early
Monkeys.
Chili Peppers, Arctic Monkeys. I mean, just tons of stuff. Then they play here and then they're gone.
Yeah.
But it's like you just want to go outside and yell, why come to the show?
Well, and it was, we had about, and the sad part was we had about 50 people. What I'll say is that didn't affect the show. Like Elán is he's a consummate professional and just was amazing. It was sad that we didn't have more people there, but now here's the thing, right? Like he doesn't travel, he doesn't do solo shows anymore. He's only getting on bigger bills and whatnot. So that was your opportunity to see him. And we'll have those shows. We normally do 1 or 2 of them a year where we just get an artist through that you're just not going to see on our stage very often and in the area very often. We're working on one, but I can't even talk about that one yet because it's actually not. It's an event that another place has that we might be picking it up. So I don't want to get into it too much, but we'll be making a very big announcement if we get that move for that show. So,
Well, that's a nice little tease
cryptic.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, the Elán Johnansen show again. I mean, I know you met him afterwards, and it's not only just a legendary musician, but a great guy.
Just a great guy. It was the cover of my Facebook picture for a long time was me and Elán, and just a great guy. And again, I wish we could get him through again, but I don't know. I don't see in the foreseeable future that something like that's going to happen based on his new situation. So.
That's a bummer because I know when he was there, he was talking about coming back with his full band at some point. But
yeah, and we'll see. You know, I never say never, but I do know that I've talked to his previous agent, who's not his agent any longer, and kind of got the lowdown on what he's working on right now. So.
I'd be remiss if I didn't mention Tom Thiel again.
Tom was the opener. Yeah.
Did an excellent opening set for
perfect set. It was just it matched the vibe of Elán very, very well. It was a very sonic show for sure.
My regret is I brought them Crooked Vultures flat ahead out in the car and I didn't bring it in.
Oh no, shut up.
I should have, but I didn't. Are you ready for some announcements?
Yeah.
Let me cue this up.
So I'm going to start with an announcement that we actually made this week, which announced on Monday. Tickets go on sale Friday at 10 a.m. Shuck. If you don't know who Shuck is, this was previously with Sarah Shuck and the Disarmers. Last time Sarah Shuck and the Disarmers was through, from my recollection, was when this was before COVID, when they were at Bent Keg. And really, really excited to have Shuck through. That's July 1st. Was very, very excited to get this opportunity. I've actually been after getting them through for a bit. And if you haven't listened to Shuck, check them out. But this is going to be a really great show. And I would expect tickets will go fast for that. I do know it's the Wednesday before July 4th. So it might be something to look at before you get out of town that weekend. But you might want to stay around that weekend because we have another big show that I've been teasing on the Facebook page. And I'm going to announce it because we already know they're coming to the area. And
you did a guest thing, and I think you had just almost 100 comments, didn't you?
It was about 70 or 80 people guessed different bands, and there were a lot of good guesses. Like there were multiple. So someone guessed Shuck, which was great, even though we announced that this week, but that wasn't the one that we had. So they did a great job by announcing it. But there was one show specifically I was looking at. And the reason I was looking at it is because our ties to this band. We brought them through for the first time in October of 22. We were one of the first venues in the U.S. to sign them back in May of 2022. And they've since blown up and been... they've been in a lot of different places. And I just saw that they're going to be opening up for St. Paul and the Broken Bones not too long before they play by us, too. So another great band that they'll be playing with. But can I say it, or do we have to renew? So you might have seen that they're coming to Summerfest, but we have the Heavy coming back on July 5th. It's a Sunday night. Those tickets, I can't imagine them not going fast because the first time we had them through, before anyone really knew who they were, we had almost 175 tickets for that show. So I would guess that this one's going to get very close to selling out. If it doesn't, you're not going to get very many chances to see Heavy on small stages like this anymore. They just got off tour with the Black Keys. They did a whole half year to more of a run with the band of... Why am I losing the Revivalists of Banded Horses? And I almost said Band of Heathens, which is another band I love, but it wasn't them. But yeah, Heavy's coming back through, and really, really stoked to have those guys through. Their new stuff's great, very similar vibe to what they've been doing for a while. But that was one of my favorite shows that we've had, and I really can't wait to get them back through.
That's a really big get for the Beer Factory again. I didn't think they'd be back to Appleton again.
There were a lot of people that didn't think that they were going to come through, at least at a stage our size. But again, we spend a lot of time making sure that we have good relationships with the bands, and not all the bands remember that when they get bigger, but there are bands that do, and it's great that we were able to make this one happen again.
Is there going to be a table option for the heavy?
That is going to, I would doubt it because I'm expecting that show to get close to selling out. But we'll see. I haven't made that decision yet. We'll be announcing that here in the next week or two. So, but I can't imagine that we would. I mean, we'll have some seating for people if they have any type of disability or anything. But normally those are more in back of the building, and we get you, or not back of the building, back of the hall, just because we don't like to put chairs out in the front when there's when we have a sold out show. It just makes a bigger issue for everyone else. So
it looks like Crazy Todd escaped the Verve pipe for a minute to say, "Whoa, that's heavy news, Mark."
Oh, that's hilarious. That's a good one, Todd. I like it.
Any other things that you want to divulge during?
So I have a big
show?
one, and I've been teasing this out a lot to a lot of people, and we're going to be announcing this in the next 2 weeks as well. So you might have seen this band already got, or these couple of these bands already got announced for Shangri-La, which is up in Minneapolis area or Minnesota. And we are going to be having a 3-band bill at Tanner's in Kimberly. And it is going to be on September 6th, the Sunday night of a Labor Day weekend going into Monday. And we are going to have Little Stranger, Tropodelic, and Jarve at this show. This show is going to be fantastic. I'm expecting tickets to move very, very quickly. I'll be doing, this will be my first show outside of the brewery, but we'll be doing it in conjunction with Appleton Music Factory as a sponsor, and then also We Jam we'll be working with, just because they've done some shows there, and it's my first time doing one. I kind of wanted to make sure that we, I had someone there to work with. Plus, those guys worked with me when we had Tropodelic at the brewery, and I wasn't looking to get Tropodelic on that show. It was just a happy accident. So I didn't feel right if we went to pull We Jam in. So I like working, keeping those ties, and really, really stoked about that. But we'll be announcing that show here in the next couple weeks. So.
A Little Stranger, another band that draws people that hasn't been around for a bit.
It hasn't been around. Last time they were around was the same day I had John Tyler Wiley at the brewery, because they had reached out for us to play there, and we had John Tyler Wiley, which is a great musician. He'll be at Gibson tomorrow night and Thursday, I believe. And but Gibson, that was the fastest show they ever sold out. I think it was within a week that they sold that show out. And then we sold Tropodelic out within 15 days, which was the fastest we've ever sold out a show as well. So,
Midwest Music Enthusiast is really happy about that, by the way.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one.
You had another announcement that I saw recently pop up on the Appleton Beer Factory page, Bronson Arm.
Bronson Arm, yeah. So that's a great show. The guys from French-Irish Coalition reached out to me about that show.
June 6th.
Yes, June 6th is when we'll be having that show. We just announced it, but that should be a great show. I know they haven't been back to the area for a bit, and excited to get them through. And I really credit the guys from French-Irish Coalition for putting that together. They came to me with the whole bill, and I love that when bands do that, because it gives me an opportunity to kind of take out some of the busy work of trying to get the extra bands and trying to contact everyone. So that was great to see that, and really excited about that show. Yeah,
Vile Bees is the other band, and Bronson Arms, they've got a very heavy, sludgy, if you like loud, thick guitars, that's going to be a show you're not going to want to miss.
Yeah, Bronson Arm is great. And I mean, French-Irish Coalition, we've had them through multiple times. Love getting them through. Vile Bees, I've never gotten an opportunity to see them, so excited to get them through as well.
And then, as always, you've got space to rent at the Appleton Beer Factory. If you're looking for a great place to have your work or your family event, you've got that room upstairs that is available.
We have the room upstairs, we have the drafting room, and we have the beer hall if it's not being occupied with music. But we have 3 rental spaces, and spaces are filling up really fast right now. But the great thing is we can do, on March 7th, we did 2 music events and 4 private events all on the same day, and everything went off without a hitch. So, like, we can do a lot of events at once. Our team's very adept at taking care of everyone. So if you're looking for a great space, our prices, you can't beat our prices. Our rentals are very affordable. The drafting room, you don't even have to rent. You just have to put a deposit down. But we don't put minimums on our rooms or minimum spends. We just want to have them filled up. And so please reach out. You can always jump online and fill out an event, the event page on our Appleton Music Factory or AppletonBeerFactory.com page. And that's the best way to get a hold of me in a quick amount of time.
Did you want to give away a pair of tickets today?
Let's give away a pair of tickets to the Weird Pal show. I think we need to, because that show is going to be amazing.
We're just going to do the first caller again and let it ride for a bit and see what happens.
First caller, let's see. We had someone calling at the end of the show last time. Don't be caught with your pants down on this one.
Got called a few times in the evening.
Yeah, we do end the contest right after the show, right once the show's done. So you have to call in during the show.
So the Weird Pal show again is going to be, I think, a really fun show to go to. And Mark mentioned if you go to it, make sure you wear a Hawaiian shirt or something like that, which obviously adds to the fun of the whole experience of it.
Well, and not to mention too, like, we love this show because again, we do one cover show a year normally. That's New Year's Eve with A-Town Unplugged. And we don't do a lot of cover shows. But of course, if we're going to do our first ticketed cover show, it's going to be a cover of a cover, basically, which why wouldn't we do it that way? But again, these guys are fantastic. You're going to really miss out if you don't have anything going on Saturday and don't pick up these tickets, because I think it's going to be a really good time.
Well, if you go to a Weird Al show, I mean, the same thing there. Everybody dresses up, and it's like a Comic-Con. Like they dress up like their favorite Weird Al song or Weird Al himself. Yeah,
you get a lot of Amish Paradise people, and it's and again, most of the shows that I've seen, these guys are all dressing in like wigs with Hawaiian shirts. Like they have a really good time with this show. So
it sounds like they don't have one Weird Al person. They all dress up.
Yeah, it's
not like you're not seeing like a tribute show.
No, you got like 5 Weird Als, and again, they're doing 5-part harmonies to this, and so it's very impressive. And if you like Weird Al, again, I can't imagine that you won't have fun at this show. So,
what's your take on tribute artists?
Oh, okay. So
give it to me straight.
So I think tribute artists have a time and a place, and I definitely do. Now, there are tribute artists that are very, very, very good, and then there are tribute artists that, aren't much of a tribute and don't. I mean, there are definitely people that put their heart and soul into their tribute, and anyone that's making music is great. We don't do a lot of tribute shows. I would say, if I was more likely to do a cover show, I would probably lean towards a tribute show before a cover show personally, but it would have to be a pretty good, I'd have to have have a good understanding of what the show is like and what it looks like. So
I saw a Neil Diamond tribute artist last week. It was weird.
Yeah, it is. Well, and again, there are tribute. I've seen tribute bands that knock it out of the park and do a really, really good job. I've also seen tribute bands and I'm like, I don't know who you're trying to be here, because you do not sound like that individual.
And for the record, the Neil Diamond guy did sound and look like him, but it was just, to me, it's a weird experience to watch
someone doing someone else's.
Yeah, it's like going to like a Civil War reenactment or something, I guess. It's a bad comparison, but you know what I mean, though.
And I'm not a big cover music fan myself, and again, it's got its place and its time for everything, but there's so many places that do cover music that we try and focus as much as possible on the original music artists. And again, there's places for cover music. Our stage is normally not one of those stages, but we do from time to time do something fun in this when it comes to that kind of stuff. So we're really excited about this.
All right. We can't wait around all day here for the first caller. So it's okay if we give away those tickets this week on WCZR.
You can give them away whenever you would like.
All right.
Just get me the information, so I got them all taken care of.
Mark, I appreciate you coming in today, and you had lots of great announcements. There's so much coming to the Appleton Beer Factory that I think it's great, again, that you're bringing in these talented people. If you didn't get your Lolo tickets, your Weird Pal tickets, I can name everybody that's coming. Stickmen, definitely don't miss out on that show.
And we have one more announcement coming Thursday, and then tickets go on sale Friday. If you haven't seen Rains, we're bringing Rains back through. Rains is a British American band. We brought them through on their first tour through the U.S. In May of last year. They played in October, and they're coming back again. These guys are awesome. They just added another person to their band. We're announcing Thursday morning with tickets going on sale Friday. And if you like that Celtic rock, you have to pick tickets up to these guys. And they're all, if you're someone who is into attractive looking dudes, they're easy on the eyes.
Well, that's a good place to end the show, Mark.
Yeah.
You've been watching ABF Monthly on Fox Cities Core and WCZR Radio. See you next month.
Thanks, Andy.